psycho, as he was erroneously called by bigoted people, he must have been on to something, in all his weirdness. I mean, if even the likes of Deputy Leader of the Labour Party herself, Harriet Harman, wants to legalise incest and lower the sexual age of consent to 14. And it can only mean that Michael Jackson was much maligned when people thought he was a perverted weirdo. He's become another martyr to public opinion, just because he chose to do something differently, or at least that what was alleged. Vote Labour! Because people just can't be allowed to get on with their lives untroubled.
There. Was that better?
Much better, thank you.
Then we can perhaps continue with the catalogue of crudity and obscenity, which is life under Labour, then.
Yes, you can cut. Oi! Oh, such bloody slander! As typical of the public, they've got no respect for their rulers. Don't you know by now that the first golden rule of living in a neoliberal society is that everybody must take care to look after the needs of everybody else, mate? Ha! It's that ethos which is the very basis for the welfare state, mate, and it won't take anything less. And now I need to extend that principle further than ever before, mate. Oh yes, we've established the principle in the left we have of taking care of the needy and taking care of the disadvantaged and making sure they go all right. And then we moved on to taking great care of people like criminals and drug pushers and addicts, and making sure that, just generally speaking, any naughty person gets a second or third or fourth or fifth or sixth or seventh or eighth, etc. quack of the web. And now we need to extend that principle to take in your very leaders, mate. Oh yes! Which is why I want you out there in the public, every last one of you, to finally do some work for a change and go up to your local constituency office when the MP is scheduled to hold his next surgery. And I want you all, be your MP, Tory, Labour, or somebody else who perhaps doesn't quite matter so much, and categorically ask, categorically demand, in the name of liberalism, that a law be passed. Oh yes, we must lobby the government. A law be passed which specifically outlaws all negative media scrutiny of the financial shenanigans of MPs in the House of Commons, mate. I don't need any of this crap hanging over my head anymore about expenses, fiddles and fraud and all that, mate. And nor does anybody else, mate. Because all that needless trivia, well, it distracts us from getting on with the job in hand. Don't you know there's many more people in Labour have become very, very depressed by it? And the Chief Whip of Labour,
God's sake,
is very, very concerned about our mental well-beings, I've got to tell ya. So make sure you look after us, otherwise we can't look after you. And you've had enough of that over the years to know that you should look after us for a better future. Vote Labour! Alright, you can carry on now, I thought I'd just set the context.
Oh, God. This means we're going to have the link music again. All right, run the link music.
Yes, run the link music.
Oi.
Well, you've got to have me giving the orders, haven't you? Otherwise, how else are people going to remember that New Labour are actually in control?
get to the meat of the...
Here! How dare you! That whistling went right through my ear hole.
Well, it serves you right for interfering, doesn't it?
Well, that kind of attitude is typical of people out there in the public. Just because you don't appreciate New Labour nanny state meddling. And just because your bad social behaviour lands you at the sticky end of left-wing people. Sir, in our punishment drives, you have to take it out on us like the children that you are. Well, it only goes to prove how people like you should continue to be punished.
Wanker.
Wanker? Wanker? How dare you! But still, such is your ignorance. Calling me names only goes to prove how you don't appreciate and don't even notice the benefits of living in New Age Britain.
Yeah. One of those benefits being that people in Labour are now seriously considering rationing petrol.
Oh yes, mate. We're going to make sure the public are suitably punished for their largesse, mate.
The Daily Express, Wednesday, September the 9th, 2009. Ministers may bring in wartime rationing on petrol, domestic fuel and even holidays to cut pollution. Under the plan, strict quotas would be imposed on how much electricity, gas, petrol, diesel and airline tickets families get. And those who use up their allocations will be forced to buy permits, which could cost hundreds of pounds a year before getting any more. The harsh new regime is put forward in a report from the Institute for Public Policy Research, the Whitehall policy think tank with the closest links to Labour. Don't forget that amongst other atrocious examples, they were the same people who wanted to downgrade Christmas to save offending people from minority groups. Researchers behind the proposals claim Second World War style rationing could be necessary in the battle against global warming.
Oh yes, mate! As somebody on the Labour Party backbenches, I have absolutely no qualms in any manner whatsoever of turning round to people like you and saying, yes, yes, you've proved yourselves once again untrustworthy to live your own lives with any real competence, public. You're far too bloody greedy, unlike people in Labour, and so therefore you must be justifiably curbed. I look forward to this measure being implemented in law as soon as humanly possible by people in the Labour cabinet, mate.
But despite the fact that this think tank is closest to Labour, and whose Matthew Lockwood says the government needs to consider rationing, and despite the fact that Climate Change Secretary Ed Miliband is sympathetic towards the idea, it will still be hugely unpopular and would be bound pretty much on its own to cost Labour victory at the next general election. That is, if its chances were good in the first place. On top of that, it would cost an extra £1.4 billion a year to implement. Labour ministers may be daft, backward and PC mad, but they're not stupid.
You see, people in the Labour cabinet have to compromise at least some of their honour, some of their integrity, and some of their wisdom and intelligence, mate, in order to sop to the public, who are just so bloody selfish, mate. They want their way or no way, and we in Labour have to bow and grovel as much as possible. I think it's absolutely disgusting. That's why I think people on the Labour backbenches should be able to control government policy, and not people in the cabinet, which is why we launched so many rebellions over the years. Because we've got less to fear from a vengeful public. Vote Labour!
So you think.